that I, oh yes, oh, by the way, we're going to be recording you, Aimee.
Oh, okay. So I'll claim God.
Because a number of people have called in and said they couldn't get on or couldn't be with us tonight. So we want to make sure they have a chance to hear you.
Sure.
We'll post it on the website. But without going into a lot more introduction, I'd like to let Aimee introduce herself, and let's give her a nice warm virtual video welcome. Aimee Cabo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And it's actually an honor and a blessing to be able to reach out to you guys. I am mainly a child of God, and also a mother and a wife and a radio host. But my story is one of long suffering, which gifted me with endurance, basically able to withstand anything. And well, it was since I can remember, since I was a little kid, abused until I was about 15. But then it didn't end there. I was a foster child. I was in the foster system. And I was a lost child. I was a forgotten child. I was the scary to know person. Nobody really wanted to deal with me. And I had been through too much, and that was scary for people. So I basically got lost I just got lost and fell through the lines. Some foster homes weren't the best foster homes. I ended up in the Miami Bridge, and I ran away. Oh, and then it was a 14 years custody battle. And then it was my daughter almost getting killed. And then it was my best friend luring me into this, the sex industry to keep my daughter. I was a single mother, orphaned. I had no family. So by the God of grace, he pulled me out of the darkness, and he showed me the light. He showed me what real love was in meeting my husband. And we've had our rough patches, but I've learned to, through it all, prayer is what kept me together. And God is what guided me and led the way. And so it's been a process. It's been a process, but slowly but surely I learned what it was to have a relationship with God, and what it was to love his people for his sake. And by that, I mean that to love others the way that he loves us, and to be there for others. In my life, I feel extremely blessed. Not to say I don't have challenges, everybody does. And it's just part of life. And I accept it and I offer it up. So it's fine by me. If it brings good, which it does, according to God, he does everything that happens in life. God makes something good out of it. And by the grace of God, I know that because I've been blessed. All I want to do is share the love, help people feel the same peace that I feel, bring people closer to God, do for someone else what was done for me. When I was a child, I was just grateful that I'd be in a home, that anybody would love me, that I would have a family. I would make pretend strangers I met along the way were my family. They had no clue, but this is my uncle, this is my aunt, this is my sister, this is my brother. I came from a big family. So I was just grateful. Very quiet child. I wasn't that scary child people were afraid to know, though I was a scary adult. All the issues and everything came out through the conditioning of the many years of I must be broken, this was a terrible thing, and how can I be okay? Until I learned that through God, anything's possible. You don't dwell on your past. I can do anything through God who strengthens me. It's not about me anymore, it's about him. So that totally turned the tables around. And once I felt that I could see God's work in my life and the way that he's blessed me, all I want to do is give back and maybe do that for another child that may be lost. And it could be a child of any age, but I want the one most in need, the one that nobody wants, the black sheep. That was me. So I want to do that for somebody else. And who cares if it's a challenging, if, of course, the enemy pickpocket will create doubt. You're not good enough. You're not a good enough parent. It's going to disrupt your family dynamics. So be it, if that's God's will. And if it's a cross, maybe it's good training. Maybe it's exactly the cross that I need to follow Christ. Maybe it's the training that I need. But whatever the case is, whatever I may be, I don't pay attention to those negative thoughts of doubt. It's better than what they're probably experiencing before me. Because I know what it's like to be that child that nobody wants. I know what it's like for people to think that she's better off where she's at, but I wasn't. And any way you put it, however inadequate the enemy may want you to feel, know that you're a better option than what they're either going through, have been through, or will go through. So we're not in this life to just take care of ourselves and take care of our own. When we meet our maker, what are we going to say? I did a great job for myself and the people who trusted me with. He wants to know what you did for my brother. What did you do for one another? What did you do for the person in need? What did you do when the person needed you most? What did you do when you had the opportunity but looked the other way? So those are the things I'll have to answer. And with all that God has done for me, I feel greatly indebted. And I believe that children are beautiful. If I can just save but one life, besides the ones I hope to save of my own, that's good enough. If I can make a difference in one person's world, if I can bring one person that could otherwise be destroyed or stray far away from God, or believe like I did that God did not love them, that they were too bad for God to love them. And to maybe show them a little bit earlier without all the suffering and all the many over 10 years of depression that I had to go through, that they might learn quicker than I did, that there is hope, that there is a better way, that there is love in the world, despite the hurt that they've experienced, despite the pain that they know, despite the evil they've seen, that there is another side and it's a better one. So I just encourage anybody that even if you think you can't, that's what it takes. That's what faith is. To step out of that comfort zone, take a chance, and try anyway. God just wants our effort. He makes up for the rest. Wherever we fall short, he will pick up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter what fears the devil tries to install. Oh, God is with me. I have no fear because he is my fortress and he is my refuge. He is all that I need. And so then you focus on God. And challenges and trials are just distractions. And that's okay, because the more that you accept them with love, the more you grow closer to God. So for that, it's a good trade-off. And so basically, the good thing that I've been through so much, the domestic violence, the abuse, the custody battles, and I've been through so many, and drug addiction and poverty, and I was very addicted. And so I went through all those things, and the beautiful thing about it is that there's no way of better understanding something than having experienced it. There's no class or books that can teach you to know what it's really like. And what that allows is an ability to have compassion and on a personal level, and a greater understanding, so that you can be better there for that person. And so I feel that everything happens for a reason. And maybe this is one of the reasons why, besides the fact that I'm able to show people that anybody can survive anything, and that God makes it possible. And for people to know that he is the way, the only way to true joy and peace and harmony. Most importantly, love.
That's great, Aimee. That's a wonderful, I would love to get copies of your book for everyone. I think it would be great to have everyone have a chance to really understand in more detail what you've gone through.
That's definitely very possible, since it just got picked up for publishing, and one of the things we had to do was buy a lot of books, and I don't know what to do with all these books.
Well, maybe we'll work on something, but you know,
Sure.
it's really what Hope, Heart, and Home is all about. And this is why, you know, it segues so nicely into what you're talking about, the points you're making about you know, having to overcome despite the hurt and the evil that you've seen, and you know, the depression and all that you went through. The fact that you know, we're asking our volunteers to do exactly what you said, which is to step out of their comfort zone
Mhm.
and make an effort. You know, just make the effort, because all these kids, like you said, all these kids need love. They haven't seen it, they don't know what it is. And to have somebody come out of a faith-based organization like Hope, Heart, and Home is, and have volunteers that help out in so many different ways. I mean, you're going to become a foster parent. You know, we've had other foster parents from Hope, Heart, and Home that have been working with Citrus, and Nadine Roll, who's on with us tonight. We've had folks that have become mentors. Jay and Anna Pierce, for example, are now going to be working with a teen aging out of foster care over at Genesis Hopeful Haven. So we've got people that are stepping up and doing what you've suggested and what you're advocating. Obviously, folks that have become panelists, help us out with the care portal, all these different things is just a big help to making a difference in these kids' lives. So I'm going to open this up to questions and have people or comments or what people would like to ask Aimee, and we'll go from there. Make sure that the first step in asking a question is to unmute yourself, because we're not very good at lip reading. Or wave your hand or something. Let us know if you've got any comments or questions for Aimee. I mean, it's quite a story that she's gone through, and I think if someone like Aimee can go through it again, this all happened when she was a young teenager. And the fact that she had to put up with all
Well,
the challenges.
the crazy thing, even though my stepfather came into my life when I was 3, and it was both my stepfather and my mother. My mother was beating me, but my earliest memory was when I was 7. But it was a very significant thing that had happened, so it probably started younger. That was just my earliest memory. But by the time I was 15 is when I finally told my older sister. But the interesting part was that my parents are both doctors, and they had a strong hold of the community. So it was not dubbed the case from hell because it was so split. The judge believed us, the guardian ad litem believed us, the DCF attorney believed us, back then HRS, but the police didn't. The police thought because I didn't write in my diary, it must not be true. Because I looked down and I didn't look at her in the eyes. And there goes that thing again about judging. Well, I did tape record him, so I proved it was. And the media actually admitted they made a mistake, which was big. Liz Balmaceda did that. Media doesn't normally do that. But it was split. It was split, the media and the police against the judge and the guardian ad litem and the attorney, and that's why it was about 4 years a case. And it was 9 of us kids actually that were originally removed.
Wow. Wow.
So Aimee, this is Jay and Anna Pierce, and first of all, thank you for that compelling testimony, and looking forward to reading your book. It sounds like just an amazing number of challenges and things you've gotten through. As Eric mentioned, Ann and I just kind of been more involved in Hope, Heart, and Home the last couple of months. And we did sign up to be mentors with Genesis Hopeful Haven to mentor someone that's just coming out of the foster care. And I'd like to understand from your perspective, some of the challenges, not just in foster care, but actually when you're transitioning out. and some of the needs that you maybe can reflect on? You know, was it kind of an abrupt change from foster care to being on your own? And maybe you can speak to that.
I didn't have a moment to think about it. It was pure survival. And just blind faith. I was an orphan. I had no one at all. No one for support, no one for emotional support. God and the Virgin Mary were my parents, and I was good with that. Besides, that's all I had. So it was just pure survival. And then it was trying to keep my daughter as a single mother, that he took me to court 3 times a year since she was 1 year old until she was 14. But having nobody that talked to you or that loved you or that guided you, and having only known a dysfunctional family led me in a destructive path. And boy, talk about the prodigal son. 10 times that was I. But yeah, well, the one good thing that my mother did was teach me about God. There was that. And with that's what kept me together for the most part. But the best thing that someone could have done for me at that moment was just let me know somebody cared, that somebody cared about me, that somebody would care enough to talk to me, to guide me, that I felt like there was somebody that I can count on, that somebody that made me feel safe, that I knew I wasn't alone in the world. I really don't know how I survived it, except that I prayed a lot. So that I think that helped. But no, it's wonderful that you guys are doing what you're doing, that you're being there for kids, because I think that nothing is more sad than an orphan. They just people don't know that the smallest luxury in life is family, and that's the basic necessity. And these kids, they don't have that. And the sad thing is that they're kids, they have an innocent soul, and they're such targets for the enemy, for the devil. And it's sad, because if we can be that for that one child, for any child, at the very least, people that we don't realize, we take for granted, at the very least, family is the most important thing that we need.
Yeah, thank you.
And
That's
that's, and Jay, you and Anna, what you're doing for that one teen is so, you probably don't realize how important it is, and how much it will mean to that teen to have someone like you and your wife in their lives. And that's incredible. That's great.
And Eric, one of the things that I'm looking, Ann and I are both looking forward to, is when we went through the application process with Mariah recently, is filled out, we're looking forward to being impacted and growing. It's not just, we feel like, listen, we've raised 6 kids, and of course there's a lot of issues, parents of 6 kids, but we're looking forward to learning and growing. And even with the kids are now 23 and older, the impact and what a witness can be, and how in giving back and serving and helping, as Aimee would say, an orphan, and how much good that'll bring to us, and peace and grace. So,
well, if I may say, there's so much you can learn from a child, from kids. Because as adults, we forget, we grow out of that kid-like stage, and well, God said we need to be like children to enter heaven. So, but there's something beautiful about a child, their heart, their purity, the way that they think, the way that they are. I'll use our daughter, for example, our 15-year-old daughter. Somebody that wanted to hurt us, she tells us, "Oh, Mom, apologize." And of course, somebody would say, "But we feel justified. Why would we apologize? We're not the one in the wrong." No, just to bring peace. And that comes from a kid. I get it. I definitely get it. But that's how kids think. and to apologize to somebody who's threatening you. And that takes turning the other cheek. And a lot of people have forgotten that. But kids still have that idea. And so, yes, we're always learning from kids.
We had a speaker last fall, Ruth Ramirez. I don't know if many of you remember. She came to the United States, came to Miami from Venezuela, and because of the communication issues with her family and the problems they had living in a trailer, she was taken away from her family and spent years trying to get reunited. And so her message to us was much of what Aimee has told us, which is, be there for these kids, be there for these teens, particularly the teens, as Martha will tell you right now, we need foster parents for teens, and we need foster parents for sibling groups more than anything else. And she said, even the teens that tell you they don't want your help, stick with it, stay after them, because they will benefit from having you in their lives. So your message is parallels what she told us, and is again makes the case for our volunteers getting involved and doing what they can, and that's really what it's all about.
I need to go eat. It's 2:00. I eat.
Rosalind, mute there you go. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Lorenzo.
Oh, thanks, Aimee. Thank you, Aimee. I appreciate that. That your testimony is very powerful and very inspiring. I do have a question. Speaking about forgiveness that your daughter brought up, have you had a chance over the years to kind of reconcile or forgiveness have been asked or given between you and your parents and that whole ordeal? Has any of that been able to be a blessing in your life?
I pray for them daily. I realize we're not up against flesh and blood, but the principalities of darkness. I never was angry at my parents. I never hated my parents. I was never not wanting to forgive them. I was hoping I'd forgive myself. I thought I did them more wrong than they did me. Of course, I agree with that. But I was never had an issue with not forgiving them. I just now have built compassion for them. I feel bad for them. To be in that situation cannot be easy for them either. And so I'm no one to judge. I can't judge them. All I can do is pray for them. I know that they must be hurting.
Did you ever see them?
I can mention, I was gonna say something.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
No, Aimee, I give you a lot of credit. I give you a lot of credit for getting through what you got through. To me, it's always harder when you're talking about children. And I grew up in a very good household. I had a very nice childhood. I had I had the typical childhood, no problems. Grew up in a nice household, my parents, and never had any issue. And I work as a juvenile probation officer now too, and that's what I do now. But when hearing your testimony from how long this went, I give you credit for coming through that. I know there is a thing that we're supposed to forgive, and I encourage you to, if you can, forgive. But I find it's hard for me to forgive, because it's one thing if you're an adult and you're older and you're treated in a certain way, you're neglected, you're shunned, but I find that when you're a vulnerable child, go back to your mindset when you're a child, you're an infant or a little boy, a little girl, and you're facing this type of stuff when they're supposed to be your protectors. I find that very, very hard. I give you very much your credit for coming through the way you did, for trying to, for forgiving them, trying to forgive them. And I don't discourage that. I mean, I get incensed and angry with people who are supposed to be your caregivers acting like this. if I had my way, worse things would be done with him, to tell you the truth. But I just want to tell you, God bless. I'm very happy that you found your peace. And I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing and speaking about it. That's
Well,
all I
listen,
just wanted to say.
I thank you, and I thank God actually, but I feel you and I love your heart. It's a beautiful
Yours too.
heart.
Mhm.
But I see it this way. What was it like for Christ to forgive those who were crucifying him?
Exactly.
Did you not find that difficult as well?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Mhm.
if Christ can forgive the people who are nailing him to the cross, I can forgive any hurt that anyone's done to me, regardless of what age I was.
Mhm. And the fact that we've been all forgiven too by him dying on the cross. Yes.
Oh, big time that I was forgiving it, so why can't I forgive? And who's to say that their crime was bigger than the crimes I've done?
Right.
You can't compare a sin as a sin either way. It still
Right.
hurts him. It still hurts God.
Exactly. Definitely. Well, God bless to you.
Alicia Rodriguez, did you want to comment? I know your family is in the process. Well, I guess you're already fostering somebody now.
Yes, we are.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Well, we took a long process, or like our year-long process of, going through the motions of getting the approval and the home study and all those things, which is obviously very important to make sure that the child is going to a good home that will take care of them and love them and treat them like they're part of the family. But yeah, we just received our first foster daughter on Friday. And she's just adjusting really well. So that's where we're at in our foster parent journey. We have 3 biological children. Our oldest is 22, Melissa. She's out of the house on her own. Our 18-year-old son, Michael, he's off to college his second semester at University of Alabama. And our daughter, Melanie, she's 15. She's still at home. So our foster daughter is 14. So they're like right there, close together in age.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Well, Alicia also is a CAM for the Guardian Ad Litem program. So she's also a author. She just came out with a new children's book that was featured in one of our newsletters, I guess third quarter. And she's does a lot of lectures and is involved with a lot of things. So I think it's wonderful that you're able to answer the call and foster the girl at your home. It's wonderful. You're special
Thank
people.
you.
Foster parents are special people. This last week, Citrus has been concentrating on, the National Foster Care, Foster Parent Appreciation or Foster Family Appreciation Week. Been doing all sorts of events, but it really hits home in terms of being able to thank the foster parents that we have, retain the foster parents that we have, and recruit foster parents like you, Alicia, and get more people involved in mentoring and the Guardian program and all the other things that we try to recruit people for. So, but Aimee, I want to thank you again for coming on tonight. Did anyone else have a quick question for her or comment?
I just have a quick comment. I just personally want to thank you, Aimee, for your incredible, powerful testimony. It definitely speaks to your strength in overcoming the adversity and with faith in God, and just how you've been able to and are giving that back to somebody else. So it's really a very powerful story. Thank you. Very, very touching to the heart.
Thank you, Maria. John, you had a question or a comment?
I do have a question. Hope you can hear me. I think it's a minor miracle that you're able to talk to us here tonight. I feel blessed that you're able to do this, and we're all blessed by hearing what you have said. But I'm really interested in a larger platform. There's maybe 30, 40 people here tonight, but I think your larger platform is you got to speak for Sirius Radio, and I think Eric mentioned there's a program called Cure.
Yes.
That's a great place for you. And I'd see you do more of that, not just for us, but for worldwide. Can you tell us how you got to that point of doing something a little larger than this audience?
God's grace.
course.
The gift that provided my producer and my husband who makes things happen. I don't know how he did it. I don't know the numbers. I don't know anything. He's the one that knows the numbers, knows how things are doing, knows the publishing and all the in and outs. I just know how to pray on my knees and ask God to use me.
Thank you, Aimee.
Thank you, John. That's great.
I'd like to say, Eric,
Go ahead.
Aimee, I applaud you.
Thank you.
Not everybody could go through what you've been through and have a forgiving heart. Fortunately enough, forgiveness brings healing. My wife and I, and Ray and his wife, and us at Hope for Kids, we work a lot with the foster children. We see what the foster children go through. We see what the foster parents go through. So it was hard for me to be able to be gracious to the biological parents because they put their kids through so much. So the Lord laid in our hearts, laid in Ray's heart, that we begin to help biological parents, because some of them, they just go through situations that are beyond their control. But me with my guard up, I'm like, okay, we have to be careful. We have to think about this. But one of the families we recruited, they began fostering a little boy. They fell in love with the boy. And then they called us and said, no, he's going to be reunited. And obviously they're heartbroken, but they love this little boy so much. And, we were heartbroken for them because we love this family very much as well. And they invited us to the little boy's birthday party a couple weeks ago. And we went. And they have adopted the little boy's biological mother. And through the birthday party, not only for the little boy, but for his sister that has the same birthday the same day. And I saw them coming together, and the girl, the biological mother, a mess. But now she started attending church.
That's how God works.
And it's all about restoration. Obviously, the person is willing, but once forgiveness sets in, so for me, that I've seen on this side of the table, all the hurt that the children go through because of what those people do to the kids, I also realize that they hurt because they've been hurt. And unless someone helps break the cycle, it's just going to go on and on and on and on. So I applaud you, because forgiveness is something that is very difficult to do when you're hurt. But once you do, it does become easier and easier, and it heals.
And could that child have been indirectly instrumental to the breaking of that cycle?
You never know, probably, because the word
By a child, remember, by a child.
The Roman 8:28 says, all things work for good for those that love the Lord and called according to purpose. So the Lord's going to take the biggest mess, the most discombobulated situation, and he's going to twist it and turn it and shift it and move it and make a blessing out of it.
Nothing worth it is easy.
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you.
Thank
Martha,
you.
do you want to say any final words? Or I know we were very blessed to have you on with us tonight. Martha is the recruiting. Well, she and Nadine do all the recruiting of foster parents. I just wanted her to had a final word for us.
Good evening, everybody. And Aimee, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and touching our hearts and inspiring us as to the power of healing, right? And what we can do for each other to be able to support each other in that journey, right? Like you said, the most important thing is not to feel left alone, right? To know that someone's there for you, and that's, to me, that's the biggest way to feel God, right? And feel that love. He talks to us through others. So, and I know that everyone here is inspired to figure, and some are still figuring out, right? But inspired to help. And I think hearing your message helps to help people to reflect on that and to determine, how they're going to be part of the solution, how they're going to be a reflection of healing love. So, and I know that it takes so much courage to share your story, and I just, I applaud you and I thank you for that.
Amen to that. Mary, did you have something? Mary Campbell, did you have a question? Mary?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right, Aimee, do you want to say a closing prayer for us tonight? And I just want to thank everyone for being on tonight. I want to thank all of you for your comments and for your insights. I want to ask you to come back on. Our March meeting will be our two folks that are on with us tonight. Freddie and Ray from Hope for Kids will be our guest speakers. We're looking forward to having them with us and learning about all the great work they're doing. But Aimee, you want to take us out with a short prayer?
Sure, I'll try. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Oh, dear God, you know that we love you, and you know that we don't deserve you, not the Father, not the Son, and not the Holy Spirit. But by your grace, you created us, and you gave us our abilities. Please lead us on the way. Give us strength, preservation, and endurance, insight, and wisdom, that we may know what it is to do your will, that our works and our actions and our thoughts all reflect to what is pleasing to you, that we be able to reject and recognize the darkness of sin and evil, and that we may be able to be a beacon of light for others and meet them right where they are in their darkness, that we can become everything and anything that everyone can understand, that they will understand us. And dear Father, if not that we don't need your presence, we don't deserve it, but if you can just be present and by your grace and your love, that will be all that we need. And to don't hide your face. Don't stay close to us. Help us to heed your voice and protect everyone that's in the care of helping children, and especially the children, dear God. Protect them, keep them in your arms, and help bring your people back to you. We love you, Father. Please heed our prayers. Amen.
Thank you, Aimee, so much for joining us tonight. Thank all of you for being part of our meeting tonight. You are all the most important part of what we do, the volunteers that make up this ministry. Paul, stay on for a few minutes. I'll talk a little bit with you. I want to thank all of our folks for here tonight, our guests. Always great to have Mary Walton from the Guardian Program, Martha Torres, wonderful from Citrus, Nadine, we didn't get to hear from her, but we'll have her speak at one of these upcoming meetings. And having Freddie and Ray on from Hope for Kids. Great to have you all with us. And we'll talk some more about some of our upcoming events, and we'll be back to you all in the next few days. So again, thank you for being with us tonight. God bless, and we'll
Thank
talk to
you.
soon. All right.